Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Real Estate and Mortgage Show. Hope you're enjoying your summer so far. We just started off on the 21st there, together with Father's Day. Hope you had a great weekend. It was certainly a nice weekend. We enjoyed it in our family and took a little bit of time off, which is sometimes hard to come by in the real estate business. Usually in the last week of June, it slows down a little bit just because of the last week of school and that sort of thing, but it usually picks up again going into July and August. And we've had a pretty good run here so far. Anyway, this week's topic is about home buyers, characteristics of today's first-time home buyers specifically. As most of you may know, I've been in the real estate business since March of 1987. And so one thing that I kind of get a kick out of is the first-time home buyers like today as opposed to what they were like, back when I started in the real estate business, back in the Stone Age. But anyway, I just wanted to go over 7 characteristics that I sort of came up with. And these are just from my experience, okay? So these are not according to, the Canadian Real Estate Association or the, Cambridge Real Estate Association. These are 7 characteristics as of the opinion of Walter Montero, okay? So just so you know where I'm coming from. So, number 1 is I find first-time home buyers today are very respectful of money. And what I mean by that is they tend to buy below their means. And I don't know why this is, which is great. Okay, first of all, they're they're respectful of debt, which is very good. I think it could be because these kids probably grew up in a home, probably went through that whole 1990s fiasco with real estate, and they probably saw mom and dad probably be a little bit above their means in terms of what they could afford. And I think when you're raised in that type of environment, you tend to have a little bit more respect for debt. So what I find today is home buyers tend to buy a little bit below their means. Do they all do it? I would say, no. But in our area, I find that they are respectful of their debt. Okay. Number 2, the second thing I notice about first-time home buyers today is that they look for houses in move-in condition. How does that compare to when I, first started? Well, when I first started in the real estate business, it seemed the first-time home buyers weren't afraid to get their hands dirty. They would buy something, they would be willing to fix it up and that sort of thing. And I find today that I think people today are just busier, and they don't want to get into fix up projects. They want to buy something that's in move-in condition. They want to come in, hang up the pictures, and be done with it. Back in the old days, I found that buyers were a little bit more receptive to fixer-uppers. Today, not so much. Now, having said that, what's interesting is that there is a program through CMHC called Purchase Plus Improvements, which allows you to buy a fixer-upper. And I don't know if many people are aware of that program, but it is a program that is available to first-time home buyers. Actually, it's available to anybody. But if you want to buy a home that needs some work, you can actually finance the cost of the renovations. Of course, there is a whole protocol on how you go about doing that. You actually got to get quotes from, actual contractors that are going to do the work and that sort of thing. But there's certainly that opportunity there. But quite honestly, I find today buyers are not receptive to it, either because A, they're too busy to want to do it, or B, maybe they're not aware of the actual availability of this program and being able to tackle that kind of stuff. Hey folks, it's Walter Montero. Just a quick interruption to this week's show. We all know that real estate is a great investment, but wouldn't it be nice to harness the power of that great investment with your RSP? Well, you can. Your RSP portfolio is not just for stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You can use your RSP to invest in private mortgages. Private mortgages are secured against real property. In our current market, they can yield as high as 14 to 16% return. How does that stand up to what your current RSP portfolio is doing now? To learn more about RSP mortgage investing, go to rrspmortgageinvestor.com. That's rrspmortgageinvestor.com. Let me show you how you can turn your RSP portfolio into a money magnet. That's rrspmortgageinvestor.com. Now back to the show. First-time homebuyers today are very receptive to condominiums as opposed to, back 25, 30 years ago. First of all, the whole concept of condominiums in our area back that far was very I wouldn't say new because there were some condos already in the area that were well established, but I would say that it was a small sector of the marketplace. It was usually, older people that bought them or very transient people that bought them. But today, I find first time home buyers are very open to the idea because, as I said, life is so busy today. They can get things covered on the outside. They're very happy to be, rid of those, the issues of maintaining a house. So I find that buyers today are more open to looking at a condo as opposed to what they were, 28 years ago. All right. Number four, the other thing I notice about first time home buyers today is that they look for single family homes. By single family homes, I don't mean, single detached properties. I mean single family properties. So a single family townhouse, a single family dwelling, okay, a single family semi-detached property, anything that's zoned for a single family. I thought in my mind that back in the day, first time home buyers were always on the lookout for a duplex in one of their, or a triplex, and the reason they were was because these were little mortgage helpers. I know the very first home I bought was a duplex, and the reason I bought it was because it was a mortgage helper. I thought it was, a great idea. I find that buyers today are not open to that idea as much. Could be because of the tenancy laws that are in place. Again, busy lifestyles. They don't want to be bothered with a tenant. But I find today that first-time home buyers are not open to looking at multifamilies as much as they used to be. They want single-family homes. Okay? Number five, one thing I notice about first-time home buyers today is their product knowledge. Their product knowledge is unbelievable. What's causing that more than anything is the internet. Okay, these kids are well versed in what's going on in the marketplace. They know what homes are going for. They've been through these virtual tours. Some of them, quite honestly, they know more about the inventory than I do. But they take the time, they research things, they communicate. Their level of communication with their network is so much more sophisticated than it was years ago. So they're able to get references and referrals and very, very quickly as to who can do the work and that sort of thing on a property. So I find their product knowledge is excellent. Okay, number six. One thing I notice about first-time homebuyers today is they're not taking advantage of the RSP program that's available for them. And basically that program is something that allows them to use their RSPs as a down payment to purchase a property. Now, I know that not every first-time home buyer has an RSP to purchase a property, but some of these down payments are coming from a gifted situation. But I'm surprised that they don't take advantage of them because there is a tax benefit to being able to use your RSP as a down payment because it is a first-time home buyer program. So if you don't use it, you don't get the chance to use it again. So I encourage people to use it. In fact, if you've got money that's your down payment, I would encourage you to put it into an RSP. That way, you get a nice big tax return on that money that you can go towards exhausting the debt on your mortgage, or you can use it for furniture or closing costs or additional down payment, whatever you want to do. But I think it's a program, the first-time home buyers program, I think is an underutilized program that I encourage people to use. Okay? And then number seven, the trend that I notice that's extremely strong in first-time home buyers as opposed to what they were 28 years ago was home inspections. I almost find it unusual to see a deal without a home inspection. To see an offer without a home inspection is, a very rare thing these days. And I don't blame them. Who can blame them? I mean, they're investing, hundreds of thousands of dollars in a property. The last thing you want to do is go in blind and find out, you're dealing with a mold issue, or there's, vermiculite insulation, or there's a crack in your heat exchanger in the furnace, or, you've got aluminum wiring. All these things are very costly to repair. Quite honestly, a lot of the banks today are starting to ask for a copy of that home inspection because, they're the ones really taking the biggest risk, when people coming in with 5% down payments, they get stuck with these properties that need repairs, then, it's not a good thing for them to have to deal with in order to unload if they have to take the property back. So again, home inspections, back in the day were unheard of, and today, it's unheard of almost to not see them in an offer. So anyway, I just thought I'd share those 7 things with you. I thought it was kind of interesting, and if you have any questions about what's going on in the market, just feel free to give me a call. Hope you're enjoying your summer, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of the Real Estate and Mortgage Show. If you have any real estate questions, please direct them to me at 519-624-9222 or walter@maximumresults.ca, or you can find me online at www.cambridgehouses.com. If your interests are in mortgages, please feel free to call 519-624-9222 or email Karen@maximumresults.ca, or you can find her online at www.m as in Mary, R as in Roger, financial.ca. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you have a great week.